All right, so I'll begin. I know that I'm making way less videos now. I am actually aiming to do just two videos a week. I've settled at that. I think that's fine. Doing two videos a week is fine. The idea I had, and again, if you're new to the channel, and I know I got some new audience there, but if you're new to the channel, I don't actually plan anything that I do here. I don't plan, I don't take notes. I just come up with an idea. And I'll tell you, for example, for this video, the idea was movement and change within, regards to individuals and people and the world. And that's all it was, because I just project like, wow, there's so much that I can do with this idea. And I can do a video on it and put up some content. So we'll begin. So the idea was movement or change in the world. I think this is a very important idea. First of all, one thing I do want to say is, your typical person, like your average person, doesn't really change much in their life. Your typical average person may increase or get better at things, but typically they are more or less always the same. One exception is as a child. When you're a child, you are heavily influenced by your parents, right? There's a lot of things that you would want to do or not want to do, but you're still doing or not doing due to the influence of your family, your neighbors, your friends, even people who are just could be the guy who's the boss of your parents or the business partner or something. Like, there's just a lot of influences that go on. And what I remember for myself is, as a child, we didn't have that many choices of things that we wanted to do. But as we got older, we had more and more choices, right? For example, junior high, you wanted to play certain sports. You pick what sport you wanted to pick. But really, did you really have a choice? Because you may have just grown up and, the dad was a big football enthusiast and he wanted you to go and kick the football around and play. And you ended up liking it and taking it on. Everybody's different at the end of the day. And even other than sports and leisure time, I remember the way they did it is in junior high, we didn't get to pick any courses at all. The courses were given to us and we did the courses. Sometimes a teacher might be flexible enough to tell you that you have a choice to do 6 different assignments, or you can pick between 6 different books and write an essay on them, right? However, as far as I know, when I went to 9th grade, we were allowed 2 electives, meaning we got to choose 2 courses and pick what we wanted to pick. Then 10th grade, you get 2 electives. 11th grade, you get 4 electives. 12th grade, you get 6 electives. So in 12th grade, the only mandatories were 1 English course, 1 math course. So that left you to pick 6 courses of your interest. Obviously, depending on the school you go, you may not have that many choices, or you may have that many choices. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And then when you go to university, you choose whatever you want to, you totally choose what you want to specialize in or do, or college. And then afterwards, you have this whole world. Sports is a big thing too, because when you get older, you might change the sports that you want to play and whatnot. That's also not a big deal. Now, me going over that briefly, where the real direction that I wanted to take it in, and I do this always on my channels, I always refer back to myself. Reason being that I'm not a professor at a university. I'm not really an accoladed expert on anything, but I know myself really well, and me being the type of person that people may want to listen to. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you want to listen to me. And if I'm that type of person, then, I should do well enough when it comes to that. And that's me giving you something unique. So we'll refer back to me. Now, change and movement, you got to understand, some people just change at different times, or you just don't see what they're really like. For me, it's kind of funny because, anyways, that's not even important. We do change and we do move, and things do change. People say that sometimes it's limited. Like, you look at the average person that or most of the people in your life, and someone might tell you, oh, Peter Parker is doing did you know that Peter Parker, the guy that we used to hang out with in school and you lived in our area, that we would see around, Peter Parker is now the head of um, the Apple organization in New York. He's the head of the entire Apple organization in New York. Apple being the electronics company that and they do all sorts of things, and somebody saying that to you, and it's funny because somebody might say that to you and it seems like a big deal, but in your head you're going, that's not a big deal. I remember when we were about 22 years old, Peter Parker did the biggest thing. Like he had the biggest party that he threw. He always went after the biggest girl. He always had the biggest guys around them doing big things. To you, you might be like, "Oh wow, that's crazy," but maybe subconsciously you're like, that's not a big deal because that's the Peter Parker that I always knew and remembered, right? You see where I'm going with this when it comes to movement and change. Now, the fact is that what makes somebody more unique than someone or not as unique as someone, and we live in a very unique world, and I've talked about this, even genetically, we're all so different. Even, first of all, we have so many different races, but even within races, we have people who are different, they behave different. I've seen a lot of different things in this world, and you gotta understand some of us just are different, right? So if you go, well, why is this kid like this, or why is that person get this or doing that? It's like, do you understand the kind of person they are? You know what I mean? It's like asking, why did a wolf pup grow up and become very successful or something, versus why is a fox still doing this, why does a coyote do that, even though they're all dogs and they're all similar. And then it's like saying, why doesn't the pig and the wolf get along and hang out with each other and understand each other? A wolf and a pig literally might even have no issue with each other at all, but I'm sure that it's difficult for the two to understand each other. Wolf and a pig, you put them together, they don't even understand each other. Even though they look at each other and they go, well, we're similar in some ways. I mean, this is a very powerful animal. I'm a powerful animal. He's a bit of a hunter. I'm a bit of a hunter. Yeah, he has some different, and really, and this is funny because the difference when it comes to a wolf and a pig that I believe is their code, right? Pigs or hogs or whatever you want to call them, they come in all different forms too. There's not just one type of pig or hog, and the same goes with wolves. And and typically they are wild, right? But the thing is that it's really the code that separates them. Wolves have a deep loyalty and a code. Wolves hang out. Wolves do individually hunt, and sometimes individual wolves will actually join up together. And sometimes they'll join one at a time. Sometimes they'll just join all of them together. They meet each other. They all join together, become a pack, and they all have different roles in the pack. And wolves are highly loyal to each other. They're highly loyal to the pack. They have very strict codes that they live by. When they hunt, who goes in for the kill, who's nipping at the legs, how they distribute the meat when they hunt it. And pigs are typically known to do things, funny things. A pig will roll in mud. A pig will eat anything if it feels like it. If he's hungry enough, a pig will eat anything. Pigs don't really mind what they eat. Pigs can eat just about anything. They can eat meat. They can eat the feed that your typical lamb and cow eat. Your typical cattle, they can eat cattle feed. They can eat anything vegetarian, meat. They can eat just about anything. Pigs don't have a strong code. Pigs are just trying to have fun, live in the moment. A pig can be extremely angry one second. He can be squealing another second. He can be happy another second. He can be rolling in mud another second, right? And anyways, that was a good little analogy, and I got 5 minutes left. So I just want to finish this off by saying, again, back to me, me being a bit of a different person, I could say that I've actually grown more in every way, physically, mentally, in the place I am in my life. I've grown more in the last, I would say, like the last 2 years, or even the last 7.5 years, I would say in the last eight and a half years, I've grown more than I did any time previous to that. Like in the last 8.5 years, I've had more growth with me than I've ever had in my life. I've literally grown out. Now, when it comes to my appearance, and when it comes to someone else's perception when looking at me, I really haven't aged since I was about 20, 21 years old. My face and my features have not aged, so I still look 21 years old. Sometimes people say that I look very young, and I look too cute to do certain things, or whatnot, which is really funny. But the truth is that I have not aged since then. So when people see me, they might be like, "Well, what's the difference? He looks exactly the same, and he still has youth about him." And believe me, that's significant. I'm in my 30s, okay? So the people that I knew when I was younger, who are the same, even around my age or the same age as me, I looked at them today. If I see them today, their face today, I am not kidding. They look old. Some guys have lost their hair. Women have aged. Girls that I knew that I knew around that time now look like old women. I mean, and I know that sounds bad, but really, I mean, the difference when a woman hits her 30s, she definitely looks older. And even men, like the guys I knew, the girls, like they look like old people now. Guys are big and fat. They're just aged. They don't have the energy they did in their youth. They don't want to play sports. They have shitty jobs. They go to an office, sit on a computer with a phone, trying to do whatever they're doing. People have aged really bad. So imagine my position. Whenever I see somebody that I knew when I was younger are looking at me like, you still look like you've changed in your face, but you still look like the same youth. Like you have the same youth. Like that's ridiculous. I can't even relate to you. I don't want to relate to you. You know what I mean? Why do you still have your youth? I mean, I haven't aged in over a decade, and they know that. But everybody that I was around at that time is an old person now. I mean, people in their 30s or wherever they are in their 30s. Really shows there's a big difference between 21 and 30 something, and these people have aged, right? So me having obviously being of a unique genetic and a unique makeup, it is crazy. It's funny, people used to say that I was really an Arab, right? That I was an Arab, but that everyone said that I was an Arab, but that I pretended to be Latin. That I thought it was cool to be Spanish and Latin. Even Latin people didn't say that to me, but I've had, black people living in Latin countries tell me stuff like that, like, oh, But it's crazy because, people thought that I was just trying to act Latin, that I thought it was cool to be gangster, or I thought gang stuff was cool, and that's why I wanted to be Latin and things like that, and that I was just an Arab. I've heard it all, and they thought that I was just an Arab who thought it wasn't cool to be Arab or Muslim, and that I wanted to be anything else, and that I wanted to be Latin, or I want, and whatnot. And they used to always say that, right? And today they see what I looked like before, really look like what I really look like now, and seeing my real appearance, they're like, okay, he's like, looks like 100% Latin, okay? Doesn't look like anything else. Looks pure 100% Latin. Doesn't look Arab Italian mix like some people thought. No, this guy looks 100% pure Latin, and this is my genuine look, what I've grown into. This is who I am, and this is what I've grown into. And finally, to finish this off, I don't need to talk about it much. Moving in life, moving up, going up in hierarchy, going up in general connections and in life, growing as a person. It's one thing to grow as an adult and then become an adult and grow more, grow further past that. Like I grew to an adult age and that youthful age, and I'm still growing past that to grow even more past that. Maybe not forever, obviously, but even for a little while, to grow more past that, to grow more past that get higher in life, get better at my skills, my mind matures more, I improve. Whereas everybody else thought is aged already. And I'm still going through the process. I aged to a certain point, but I'm still aging past that, you know. Anyways, movement and change is real.